Hello, magical people, and welcome back to the Meg Moonbeam and Jens Pateo YouTube, Rumble, and X channels. We're so happy to be here with you all to talk about a very interesting, fun subject, starseeds, the next generation. Like in Star Trek, we're doing a little bit of a Star Trek theme today to talk about starseeds. So thank you all so much for joining us, and I'm here with my husband, Jens. How's it going, Jensie?
I'm good. I'm good. The weather in Belgium has gotten a little bit colder, but it's still nice. So we've been enjoying really nice weather. So that was pretty cool.
Hilarious. And by the way, you guys, I've just got some sage. If you see smoke going on, I'm just saging it up over here. Hilarious that every time I'm not with you in Belgium, you're getting the nice weather whenever I'm not there.
It's the way it is. You should come to Belgium more.
Well, it's a little bit of a cosmic joke. We will be reunited. We'll be reunited soon.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for joining us today. And before we get into the content of this video, we want to share that we're going to be hosting a soulful summer solstice retreat weekend at the end of June, from Friday, June 27th to Monday, June 30th at the Algonquin Provincial Park Magical Wilderness Area in Ontario, Canada, at the award-winning Northern Edge Retreat Center. Yancy, do you want to talk a little bit about our upcoming retreat?
Yeah, it's the third retreat we're doing. We started doing it. We started off with a trip to England, which was a total blast. And I'm really excited because it's always so nice, to get together with like-minded people. And in person, it's so special, in this time, and I say it time and time again, and I'm going to keep saying it, in this time that everything is so much online and we're so much on social media, it's really, really nice to be in person with people in, a natural location far away from, the city, in Algonquin Park, which is, it's wilderness basically. So in a very, very nice retreat center. So I'm really excited for this, because it's when you get together with people, in for a few days that the magic happens. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, and something's going on a little bit funky with your microphone, so maybe you can check that out. We can hear you, but it was going a little bit fuzzy and in and out there. So if you guys would like to see the full details for our upcoming retreat to celebrate the summer solstice with like-minded community, you can go to my website, megmoonbeam.com. And thank you so much to everyone that's signed up so far. We are getting lots of signups. So if you do want to come, sign up sooner than later so that you have your spot confirmed. And we also want to mention that Jens now has his book, A World in Transition, available in English over on Amazon. So you guys can go check that out. Jensi, you've been getting absolutely amazing reviews on your new book. How does it feel now that your book is out in Dutch and English?
It feels good. It feels good. I like that it's in English because, of course, it's about, I specifically wrote a book to show people that I wrote the book for a lot of reasons. The one reason is to show people, especially in the beginning part of the book, that, this conspiracy against humanity, you can call it, is provable. And I go really into the facts about the power structure, about the elite. There's over 300 sources in the book, over 300, verified sources that I personally checked out myself. So it's provable. So that's one thing. It really has a foot in the material world. It's not like airy-fairy, in a sense that, some people think there's nothing to it. No, it's really provable. And then I, of course, branch off into the more metaphysical and spiritual subjects. I even have a chapter on, like, do viruses really exist? So I'm discussing some really cutting edge information in a way, because that's like, a lot of people aren't ready to accept, to maybe doubt the existence of viruses anyway. Also proven with a lot of, backed with a lot of facts, a lot of discussion. So it's pretty interesting. Check it out if you want.
Very cool. Yeah, so you guys can go check that out on Amazon, and we'll put the link below in our description boxes. So we're starting this new series where we're going live together every week, and we're going to usually do it on Fridays, but we had some stuff coming up for us this week, so we're doing it earlier on a Wednesday. And last week, if you haven't seen already, we did a video on the astrology of Europe. Very interesting, so you can go check that out on our channels if you'd like to. And today we've got a metaphysical subject, Yancy. What are we going to be talking about today? I think you came up with our topic for today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about star seeds, and we're gonna lay a bit of an introduction. Talk about our own experiences. Meg is also gonna go into the astrology. Really interesting, in my opinion. Also, the astrology around the star seed energy. I think it has to do with a certain planet. I'm not sure, not, but I think so. Um, so yeah, so maybe we start off with sharing our experiences, sharing maybe how we came to discover, because I think you can call us star seeds, but maybe we have to define what star seeds are first before we start to share our experiences for people who are maybe not really in touch with this subject, or this is the first time they're hearing of it.
Mhm.
So maybe I'll share the definition of what a star seed is, and then Meg, you can start off with sharing our experiences.
Yeah.
So um, a star seed is actually a soul, the way I see it, right? That this is my definition, but I think most people would agree with this definition. Is a soul who has an origin more in the you would call the universe, or the other planets, or other dimensions on other planets, that is not so, in its origin, less connected to Earth than some other souls. And I don't mean to say that not other souls can't have, like, off-planet experiences and stuff like that, but starseeds are really souls who share a strong connection to, for example, these other planetary systems, like, for example, Pleiadians, the Pleiades, Sirius, Orion, even the Andromeda galaxy. So starseeds are basically souls that are in their soul makeup more drawn, more connected to those systems. And then you have other souls which are more connected to the Earth and Earth's evolution. So I would say that is the main difference, I would say. So yeah, let's switch over to you, Mecca. Is there anything you want to add to my definition before you start to tell your personal story?
Yes, for sure. And sorry, you guys, there seems to be something up with your microphone, Yenzi, where every now and then there's a really weird, loud, buzzy sound. So I don't know what that is exactly, but hopefully we can get that figured out. So sorry, you guys, that we've got that weird sound happening every now and then. Yeah, I would definitely agree with your definition on starseed. And I do feel like we are all I think that everyone, in a way, is a star seed because we are made of the stars and everything is one. And we are truly not separate from each other and the universe and the stars. But there seems to be many of us during this time of transition as we go into the age of Aquarius that really resonate with this concept of a star seed to connect to the stars, that we've perhaps lived other lives on stars, connecting to outer space, astrology, astronomy, what's going on other planets, aliens, UFOs. So I think, in a way, and this is a very Uranian Aquarius answer that I'm giving, I think everyone is actually a star seed, but people who call themselves star seeds are ones that are really conscious to the fact that we are all one, we are made of the stars. And maybe people who consider themselves star seeds are people that have had origin lives on other faraway planets, or many more lives on other planets compared to other people. What would you say to that, Jens?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at it at the really origin and basic point of view, no soul is really bound to earth, right? We all come from the spirit. We all come from spirit. So, we don't want to mean star seeds like some souls are really, there is no value judgment here in any way. We're all cut from the same cloth, and that is actually spirit. So, but
Mhm.
star seeds are just souls that have a higher kinship with these, more spacey subjects. I mean, I remember as a kid, I was so interested in space. I mean, I was like nerding out about it. So, and so it really comes down to more like, for example, you're from Europe or you're from the US. I would say, like, it's based on the soul level. Like, it's you're more aligned with the stars, and other people are more aligned with, like, the other spiritual realms, because it's a big universe out there. I would call it more like that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And what was your journey in learning about? Do you remember when you first heard the term star seed, or when you first thought, hey, I might be a star seed? What was that journey like for you?
Well, first for me, the introduction to the subject happened with the books of Barbara Marciniak. Really recommend those books. I mean, that was 20 years ago. The books of Barbara Marciniak are like more than 30 to 20 years old by now. But really recommend. And that's when she started talking about, the Pleiadians and about star seeds and about, these other star systems in higher dimensions. And I was like, oh, cool. But I didn't immediately think, am I a star seed? I was like, because I was really, at that time, I was only getting into my spirituality. So, and I was still expanding my mind. So the thought that I could be a star seed was something that I like maybe questioned, but I wasn't convinced, honestly. I wasn't convinced because I didn't, as I was only, getting into my, what you could call soul awakening. I was just more learning about myself, and I couldn't answer the question, "Am I a star seed?" I didn't know, and it's only as I got more on my path that I really got, the through my own intuitive knowing, through things that I had, journeys that I did, also in the mind. That I came to realize that yes, there is that starseed connection for me.
Mm-hmm.
So how was it for you?
Yeah, for me, it was a little bit similar. I love Barbara Marciniak's work. And interesting, there's another Barbara called Barbara Han Clow, who wrote a book, channeled a book actually called The Pleiadian Agenda. So for those of you who have never heard of Barbara Marciniak or Barbara Han Clow, it's funny that they're both two Barbaras, but they're both Pleiadian channelers. They're both starseed channelers. And how old was I? I think I was 19 years old, and I was at university, and I just finished my independent music production program, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I was in a little bit of a weird space, and I went to university for philosophy, which I only lasted 1 month in university for philosophy. That's my Mercury and Venus in Sagittarius. I was like, oh, I'll just take a philosophy class. And I skipped class a lot because I personally found school very, very challenging, which I think is a commonality with a lot of people that consider themselves starseeds or light workers. School and the Earth matrix and systems can be very challenging for us. And so I skipped class in university and I went to the library, and I always, my whole life, was very, very drawn to the astrology books, the spiritual section, whenever I would go into a library, and I would just spend so long looking at all the books. And I'm looking, what astrology books do they have in this library? And the Pleiadian agenda stood out to me. And I never heard of the word Pleiadian before. I never heard of the word starseed before, but something, I think it was like divinely guided, because I just took the book, I started reading the book, and I read this book all in one day. I just spent the rest of the book reading this day. I went home on the bus. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, I'm a Pleiadian starseed. So it basically broke down that, we're entering, as it says on the title, a new cosmology for the age of light. We're entering the age of Aquarius. You can see the symbols for the different astrological ages on there. And many of us have incarnated during these times to help with the shift into the age of Aquarius. And it can feel really weird being here as a starseed. It can feel very unnatural. We're helping to move past the systems and structures that don't serve humanity anymore. And that was probably the biggest aha moment of my life so far, was reading that book, The Pleiadian Agenda, and realizing that I was a starseed and I was on mission. And that's why my whole life up until that point felt weird, and I felt like I was on the wrong planet. And that can also be something very common with starseeds as well. We can feel like we're living on this wrong planet. Is that something that you ever felt, Yanzi?
Not really, but it's something that I hear from a lot of starseeds. Like they don't feel at home. They want to go home, and this is something at the end of the show that we're going to go a little bit deeper in, because that's there's some important information and lessons in there for starseeds. But let's not go into that now. So yeah, for me, I honestly I didn't have that as much, because I've always felt like I am here. And I like being here, and I'm gonna sit out the ride until I'm not here anymore, until I pass over when the timing is right. So I've never had that, but I've heard I may be the exception amongst the starseeds, because I know a lot of starseeds that really they have this kind of yearning and longing that they don't belong. Maybe I had it as a kid, but I can't clearly remember it. I always felt like a little bit. What I did have is that I felt like on what planet am I? It's not that I didn't want to be here, like a lot of starseeds have, or feel homesick in a way, but I was like, what will I remember thinking as a kid, what weird world am I in? It's like, it's so weird. Like there was this kind of like feeling of like very like an existential feeling of questioning at a deep level, what is this all about? And I think that was like a bit of the starseed origins that I got that was causing it, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And just to be clear, I never felt in my life, I've never had that feeling of tapping out, exiting this earth. But I always did feel from an early age like I could see through what was going on, that there was something really weird going on here, that things weren't natural and serving the people. And it made me feel really, really uncomfortable, and always felt like maybe there's another place where things are better, that maybe I'm coming from, or something like that. So it's interesting that many of us have had these starseed feelings during this time. And this is a picture of one of the places that many starseeds feel really connected to, the constellation of the Pleiades. So a Pleiadian is one of the different types of starseeds. Jens is going to talk about some of the different kinds in a moment here. And it's interesting that not only is this a concept, the concept of starseeds in kind of the new age or the modern day spirituality coming up, which, by the way, the term starseed, supposedly, this might not be accurate, but according to Wikipedia, supposedly comes from Brad Steger in his 1976 book, Gods of Aquarius. So that's the first time, supposedly, that we heard that term, starseeds. But ever since actually ancient times, when we look at native cultures and indigenous wisdoms, many indigenous people, particularly the native people in the Americas, consider that we actually originated from the Pleiades. So this is not just a modern day concept, but it's also in many indigenous cultures that they believe that we may have actually originated from faraway galaxies or constellations. Anything that you want to add to that? Oh, Yenzi, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, no, my mute wasn't mixed because I was trying to fix the sound. No, I don't have to add anything. That was perfect.
Okay, cool. So so we've talked a little bit about what is a starseed, our background, about how we found out about that. Let us know in the live chat if any of you guys consider yourself a starseed. If you have any comments on this subject, we're very interested to hear from you all. Mystic Melody says, when I was tiny, I used to talk to the stars, had my own names for them, felt like a tiny grain of sand on the huge planet. Well, that's very beautiful, Mystic Melody. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, okay, next we're going to talk about some of our UFO, starseed, ET experiences. Actually, before that, Yenzi, do you want to speak on actually some different types of starseeds? What are some of the different types of starseeds for people who are really new to this subject?
Yeah, each starseed system has kind of its own flavor, and some people resonate more with the Pleiadians, as I think you do, Meg. Some people resonate more with Syrians. I mean, for example, I want to give a shout out to Patricia Korishi. Definitely resonates more with the Syrians. She channels the Syrians. Really interesting books. Really up there with Barbara Marciniak, one of the pioneers also in the starseed space. We've gone to Egypt with her. That's actually where Meg and me met. It was the first trip in Egypt with her, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do like meditations inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, because she had special access. Before all the tourists came in, it was just that was a truly life-changing trip. I mean, look at it. We're together now. We met there, so really, it was really, really beautiful. And actually, it inspired us to organize these trips ourselves, because that's what we're doing now. So anyway, just totally amazing. So back to the different starseed types. I would say that the Pleiadians, and I'm never going to give 100% correct answer on this, because there's so many nuances, so many shades. Even amongst, for example, the Pleiadians, there are a lot of differences. But I would say the Pleiadians have more of a soft and feminine, like in some part of their energy feminine, um, and a soft like energy, like very kind to nature, very kind to animals. I feel, of course, they're also, really truth speakers also. So they also have that masculine side in a way. But I feel like with them, it swings a little bit more towards and of course, that doesn't mean that it's feminine. That can be very masculine. But I feel that more like with the Syrians, it's more. For me, it's a little bit more to the masculine side. The Syrian starseed energy, a little bit like Pleiadians is very much emotional. Also, a lot of empaths are Pleiadians, in my opinion. A lot of highly sensitive empaths are Pleiadians. So that's why I talk more about that receptive feminine energy. Also, then you have the Syrians are more, like, manifestors. I feel like Leo, like lion-like. And then you have, for example, the Arcturians are more like a little bit more mental in a way that they are more scientifically minded and very like logical and very structured. So the Arcturians are really the scientists among the star seeds. And then you also you have a lot of shades of gray. You have the Orion system, and I read about the Orion system that it's a system where a lot happened. There was a lot of light also, but there was also, like, they call the Orion Wars. There's a book about talking about that. Like, a lot of bad stuff happened in that system too. So there's like a duality also there. There's so much. You even have people who are starseeds, like from the more insectoid species, like for example the praying mantis type of beings, which I personally experienced in a meditation, which was very positive vibration. I mean, they sometimes get a bad rap in the UFO community, but when I've experienced a praying mantis in a meditation, it was very, it was kind of weird because it's like insectoid. It's like very different than us. When you feel its nature, it's very like, it's different. It's, and it's just a meditation. I mean, I can understand why they don't show themselves, because if you would see a being like that standing physically, manifesting physically in front of you, they're so different. I think our natural reaction would be to freak out, honestly, because they're so different. But so yeah, there's really there's so many. I just scratched the surface here.
Yeah, for sure. So many different kinds, and let us know in the comments which ones you guys feel like you resonate with. I definitely feel like I resonate with the Pleiadians the most of all. And it's just a feeling that I have. And I think that's very important for us to pay attention to our own intuition. Chrissy, 9 Lives Energy says, I was told by a lady who did Akashic Records that I was a hybrid of Pleiadian and Syrian. That is very cool. And I do think that it is cool to get readings with people that you resonate with. But I think most importantly is for us to feel from ourselves what we are resonating with, right? I've had a couple different people tell me in readings that I was from this star seed and I've only had this kind of lives. But when I really feel into it, there's certain things that I feel from my intuition, and it's important for us to tune into that. Most importantly, which star systems do you feel like you resonate with, Jens?
Well, I do resonate with actually a little bit of all of them. I do feel quite a strong connection to the Pleiadian system, but I also know that there's a connection to the Syrian system and even a connection to the Arcturians. And I remember doing a starseed retreat that was back in 2017. I was a bit with she's still a Bridget Nilsson, I think she was called. She is Bridget Nilsson, and we had to do like some exercise, meditate, and find what we resonate with. And I was shown, and in meditation, I was shown, like, by my, what like higher consciousness or whatever you call it, that it's like a little bit of everything actually. So there there was not one place to call really home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm my home planet is the Pleiadians. I was like, our home is spirit, right? In the end, is the divine source of light, you call it, where we all as souls come from in the end. But we as souls as souls manifest, we go through these different stages, and star seeds are like souls that go manifest from the light into these more star systems. But I feel like, because we as souls, we live actually multiple, they say that time doesn't exist, right? And if time doesn't exist, which I do believe, because time is like, we experience linear time, but in a bigger in a bigger view of reality, all time is simultaneous, and we just experience linear time in this 3D world, but actually our other lives and other star systems are happening in the same time. They're actually parallel lives. So we are actually manifesting as souls constantly from source into the time dimension, and we're actually having multiple incarnations at once. But from our individual perspective, it's linear. But for our higher self or higher soul, it's actually simultaneous. So that's why we can be at different places at the same time. So that's why you can be, a Syrian starseed and a Pleiadian starseed at the same time, actually. Because in truth, there is no time. And you carry all these influences within you as a soul.
Right. Yeah, very, very true. And as Jens said before, we met on a starseed retreat with Patricia Corey to Egypt. Monique says, great explanation, Jens. Right now, I just want to go home. Yeah, that's something else that I do notice, kind of touched on that already, but I do notice with some people that are star seeds, and as we're going to talk about a little bit later in today's video, some of the markers for star seeds in our astrological charts, I do notice that people who have Aquarius strong placements in particular can feel really out of place with being on the planet, as Aquarius is the sign that rules star seeds, outer space, ETs, anything having to do with outer space and what's not of this world. So yeah, it can feel like when things are weird on this planet as they are right now, and we've lived in civilizations with higher energies and higher mindsets, it can feel really, really uncomfortable. So if you've had that feeling, you are not alone in that feeling. Many of us have had that kind of feeling for sure. HMC says, I get that too. Aquarius rising, have always felt like I don't belong here. Yeah, a lot of people feel that. Is this Sunny in the chat? Sunny says, are the crab people on South Park star seeds? Okay, I feel like that's Sunny. Hello, Sunny, aka Ozark refugee. So Jens and I met on a star seed trip with Patricia Corey, which was so cool. And we'll just kind of go through some of these pictures. I forgot about this. This is the first picture of my Egypt photo album. Do you remember which place this was with the stars on the roof? Was that a burial chamber or something like that?
Before we go on, can you hear me? Because I changed my microphone. Is it better now, the audio?
Yes, we can hear you. It's a little bit low, though.
It's a little bit low. Okay, let me check. So can you guys in the comment let us know if there was really a lot of popping for you guys going on? If it was
there was a lot of popping. So maybe just keep it with that.
Okay, so I switched to my little laptop mic. All right. Okay, yeah. So I don't know where this is. I can't remember where this is.
I can't remember either. I even forget the name. Oh, I put in the description here, Serapeum. Some think it's a burial chamber. Some think it's an underground power station that powered Giza. The energy is electrifying. I wrote that in 2016 in the description of the picture. And we now know that Giza is literally a power plant as of just a few weeks ago, right? Absolutely wild. So these are some of the pictures from our trip. And yes, this is where Jens and I met. And you can really feel the cosmic starseed energy when you are there. Dare I say, that's me being silly, dare I say it's the starseed, basically capital of the whole world. I also feel like Sedona, Arizona is like a starseed capital of the whole world. And this is actually the first ever picture of Jens and I together in Egypt. How crazy is that? And there's something weird coming off of my head. Do you see that?
That looks like a spirit, because that's like the typical orbs you see. Because that was like a really haunted place, because it was like an old English mansion where we had high tea. Yeah, like an old colonial mansion. So that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's something like spiritually, energetically coming off my head. And I remember one time when we were in the pyramids, Patricia said to me at one point that she saw my whole face shapeshift into an Egyptian past life or something. So the veils are definitely very thin in Egypt. Also want to show a cool picture of when we saw some of the proof of electricity and technology in the hieroglyphs. Sorry, some of these pictures are grainy, you guys. Do you remember this when we went to that place and there were hieroglyphs depicting batteries?
Yeah, I think that was the hacker temple.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Literally a battery right there being shown. And I love that one as well. And there's another one. I think it's when we were at the Hathor Temple. Oh, this was a really trippy place too, Abydos. I'd love
That was interesting. Yeah, and I felt like this one was older even. Like this was because this was like more underground because you see 'cause it's like flooded a little bit, and it was on a lower level than the other temples. I think this was even older than most of the other stuff you see in Egypt because you see like the design is like it looks more like the stones they have in Peru, like in Machu Picchu, where the stones like perfectly fit. There's like, you know, see how these stones like perfectly fit. And then there was this flower of life, which was like thousands of years old. Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. The flower of life on there. Wild. And let me see if I can just find that other one I'm talking about here. Oh, yeah, this one. Helicopter looking object and planes. That was at, I think, a Hathor temple. There's literally a hieroglyph of a helicopter, of a sailboat, of a plane, of a fighter jet, and a bumblebee as well from thousands and thousands of years ago. So that was a very big activation for us when we went over to Egypt. And hopefully, stay tuned, you guys. Jens and I will be planning an Egypt trip for sometime soon. What do you think, Jensi?
Absolutely. There's something. It's not for next year, but we're planning something. Yeah.
We're planning something. Something's in the cards. Yes. What I will say, we have to look into it. We have to confirm it. We have magically upon our path come across some people that can definitely help us with the Egypt retreat, because if we're going to put that out for you guys, we want to make it as best as possible. And we're not from Egypt, and it's a completely different culture. So even though we've been there one time, there's a lot of organization that we're going to have to do for that. But August 2027, there will be a total solar eclipse, 100% visible from Luxor. So that is something that we're kind of thinking about maybe doing a retreat then. We will see about that. So yeah, before we get into the astrology of starseeds, Jensi, is there anything you want to mention? Anything else you're feeling?
No, let's continue.
Okay, very, very cool. Yeah, it would be very fun for all of us to go to Egypt together. And I know that we are probably going to do that several times in our lifetime. So, okay, I want to share with you guys a little bit about the astrology of starseeds. Okay, so very, very interesting that there are actually astrological markers for if you are a starseed in Western astrology. And there is actually something called starseed astrology that I'm sure many of you guys have probably heard of. So that is a more modern astrological modality of looking at one's birth chart, and based off of where some of the constellations are in the fixed stars placement in starseed astrology method, they can tell us, constellations that we may be more connected to than others if we are a starseed. But what I actually felt really strong to share with you guys is the planet Uranus's recent great conjunctions and the generations that fall under some of these recent great conjunctions, as well as Uranus in Aquarius generation, Uranus exalted in Scorpio generation, and some of the birth chart markers. So I'm not going to go specifically into starseed origin astrology because that's not something I've studied in. That's not something I've practiced personally, but want to share with you guys a little bit about these Uranus great conjunctions, as well as some other things. So this is a slide that I made for us to show our 4 most recent Uranus great conjunctions, which for those of you who don't know, a grand or great conjunction is an astrological term for when we have 2 of the outer planets in conjunction with each other, which does not happen that often. And it is very, very special when we do have that. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, I've mentioned it a couple times, but just to be clear, Uranus is the planet in astrology that rules starseeds, outer space, other planets, aliens, all that is not of this world and cosmic energy. So, of course, when we want to look at star seeds and markers for star seeds, we want to take a look at the planet Uranus, right? So first, we've got our most recent Uranus-Pluto conjunction, which only happens every about 248 years. The last time we had a Uranus-Pluto conjunction was June 30th, 1966. So if you happen to be born on June 30th, 1966, you're definitely 100% a full-blown star seed because you were born on the day of a Uranus-Pluto conjunction. Or if you were born between the years of 1963 to 1968, you have Uranus and Pluto conjunct. Your whole generation of that 5-year period has that conjunction. And that was a generation of people where many star seeds were being born from 1963 to 1968. And Uranus ruling star seeds, Pluto rules secrets and transformation, change, very big breakthroughs. That was a grouping of star seeds being born. And let us know in the comments if any of you guys were born then. Many of them were truthers, researchers. You know, Pluto has to do with conspiracy theorists, truthers, researchers, healers, healing arts professionals. So many of the star seeds born 1966, 7, 8, 5, 4, 1963, many of them, and I notice this when I do the astrological readings, they're very much into the healing arts, or they feel very drawn to being of service to humanity, born under the influence of that conjunction, as Virgo rules to be of service to others. So these were star seeds that were born with healing gifts through their hands or through the healing arts, or even with animals. Virgo can have to do with animals as well. So it's interesting also, Yenzi, to mention that our 4 most recent Uranus great conjunctions, 3 of them happened in Earth signs. The Uranus-Pluto conjunction in 1966, Virgo, Uranus-Neptune conjunction, 1993, Capricorn, and the second last Uranus and Saturn conjunction, 1942, in Taurus. And I feel like intuitively, many of these recent Uranus conjunctions were in Earth signs because it's bringing in, it's grounding into the Earth element, into the practical realm, the cosmic consciousness and the star seed frequency. I felt that very, very strong because Earth has to do with Mother Earth and being grounded on the planet. Would you mind speaking, Yenzi, a little bit briefly, because you're very good at speaking on the importance of being grounded while also being a star seed at this time? Whether you're spiritual professionally or just personally, that importance of the earth element, that importance of grounding.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of the life lessons, or one of the spiritual lessons of, star seeds, because they're so attuned to the higher energies, to these star seed energies that are can be a little bit ungrounded if you're unbalanced, is that even for them, grounding is really, really important. And a lot of star seeds struggle with this. A lot of star seeds, especially when they're young, they turn to drugs, smoking weed a lot, alcohol, MDMA, other kinds of drugs, to really escape from reality a bit, because they're so attuned to these, these higher frequencies from these, non-Earth, non-Earth systems. And that's really, really important for them. The really life lessons is embodiment. And this is where maybe we can talk about what star seeds really need to do, especially the ones who feel like homesick, who feel like I don't belong on this planet, is really, as you have to get to know Earth, you have to embodiment. Really important as embodiment is fully embodying your body, working on your grounding. Really, really important. So that means not too much drugs, not too much alcohol, no drugs, not too much weed. Gotta be careful with the alcohol. Don't get wasted. And I'm giving this advice now because I've been there. When I was young, I did it all. I can tell you I did it all. I overdid some things. I never overdid drugs. I overdid alcohol sometimes, but I never overdid, I never overdid drugs. But it's really even small amounts can be very ungrounding for star seeds. So don't do the drugs, and especially is ground yourself, an embodiment. You have to become in, you have to step into your body. You have to really get all your energy, instead of, floating outside of your body, is really ground that energy in your body. And for me, that took a long time to learn that. And it also comes with healing. And now I'm feeling like I've since then reached a place where I feel like I'm really grounded. And it's been confirmed by healers. But for me, in the beginning, I was very ungrounded, very, it's really it's something that all starseeds have to go through. And the more grounded you become, the more embodied you are in your own physical body, the more you will like being on Earth. That's really, really important. And you will feel like, okay, I'm here, I have a mission here, and I'm gonna, just gonna ride it out. No, I never, like I said, I never had that. I didn't belong here. I just accepted it. I'm in for the ride. But I did have, especially in the beginning early 20s, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, that I was really ungrounded. So I can't stress it enough. Embodiment is, it's very easy for us to go to these higher energies and to hang out there. But really, the lesson is, this is sometimes the hardest for us, is get down to Earth. That's the main message for Starseeds.
Yeah, for sure. To get down to Earth, very, very important. And I really love that within the past few years, since, we're getting out of this pandemic time and it's getting easier to travel, Jens and I have been, the past 2-3 years, we've been traveling to a lot of wilderness areas on a regular basis. We've really been enjoying traveling many of the national parks in the US. We're going to be doing our retreat in Algonquin Provincial Park, wilderness area of Ontario. In Belgium, we still get out into the nature. We still live in the countryside, but it's not like true wilderness. But what I've been really finding helpful the past few years, Yanzi, is when we go to literally those wilderness areas in the middle of nowhere, where you have to be grounded because you're no longer in control as a human. Right? When we're in these city environments and this transhumanism, it's very unnatural, and we can feel like humans are the most important thing, right? But then when you get out into nature and there's animals that are bigger than you that could potentially harm you, there's weather events that you're vulnerable to, there's not as much of an internet connection, you're really in the wild, you could get lost. I find that very grounding when we put ourselves in those wilderness situations. So I found that very helpful. And I can definitely relate to what you were saying about the drugs and alcohol, because as a young starseed, I was high for many, many years, literally from the moment that I woke up to the morning that I went to bed. I was just like high on weed for like a 4-year period, because I felt very uncomfortable being here. And I felt way better once I actually got sober and started grounding into my body and enjoying being human. Okay, there's challenges to it, but we are here to uplift the planet and to be as strong and healthy as possible. As you said, Yanzi, drugs and alcohol, we definitely need to be very mindful of that because of our sensitivities. And can you think of anyone at the top of your head born 1963 to 1968 that you know of in that kind of starseed generation?
Not really. No, I don't know. I know, not directly. No, not immediately.
Yeah, it's fascinating because most of my clients are born 1966. I swear to God, the year of that Uranus-Pluto conjunction. The most people that book readings with me are born the year of that conjunction, which is crazy. Also, we've got the Uranus-Neptune conjunction, 19 degrees of Capricorn. That was February 2nd, 1993. I'm in that starseed generation. So the influence of that Uranus-Neptune conjunction was from 1991 to 1995. We're the next weirdo generation, which, by the way, you guys, you don't have to be born one of these generations to be a starseed. We're also going to break down other things astrologically that can show up in your chart. But this is just one of the things I was feeling really guided to bring up, is these generations. So very interesting. I'm born 1992, and I was born with Uranus-Neptune conjunct in Capricorn. So again, similar to the Uranus-Pluto conjunction and the second last Uranus-Saturn conjunction in Earth signs. Generations that are here to ground the starseed frequency, to bring in the cosmic consciousness and higher vibrations, but in a practical, grounded way. Interesting, Capricorn is the workforce and the structures and systems of life. So a first generation, look at me, I'm a professional astrologer, right? With Uranus Neptune conjunction, I'm in a generation where it's safe for me to be a professional astrologer online, in day-to-day life. So many people born in that generation I'm born in, 1991 to 1995, will feel very guided to, in work, do something Uranian or do something innovative. And you will notice that, yes, okay, we have some normies that are born in these generations. People that will feel these conjunctions very strong have these conjunctions in angular houses. So the first, fourth, seventh, or 10th houses, those strong angle houses in the chart, or they'll have these conjunctions in top aspects to other planets. So there's a lot of different layers to it. And well, do you know anybody else, Yanzi, born in that Uranus-Neptune conjunction time?
So that's from 91 to 95.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know multiple people. Sunny, your best friend Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dan.
Yeah.
No, Dan, is it Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's yeah, I know multiple people from that time. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's interesting that the Uranus-Pluto generation, they're bringing in change and transformation, and they have great healing abilities. And then the Uranus-Neptune generation of the 90s, they can have a naturally open, Neptune as the spiritual connection or dream world to the starseed places and energies. Then we've got our two recent Uranus-Saturn conjunctions. The second last one was 1942 at 29 degrees of Taurus, critical degree. So if you were born between 1941 to 1943, I know we've got some people out there born between those years, then you were born Uranus-Saturn conjunction. So that's many starseeds born during that time. And the last Uranus-Saturn conjunction was 29 degrees Sagittarius, a fire sign. And that was February 12th, 1988. The influence was from 1987 to 1989. So with Astrology of Starseeds, we want to look at those Uranus great conjunction generations. That can be a marker. We also want to take a look at when Uranus was in his home sign of Aquarius. So the last time that was from actually April 1st, 1995 to March 10th, 2003. And Uranus has a zodiac revolution of about 80 years, if I'm remembering that correctly. So it doesn't go through the signs that fast, can take quite a long time as it's one of the outer planets. And so we don't have Uranus and Aquarius generations that often. So it's interesting, Yanzi, that as we're speaking, we have a whole generation of really intense starseeds born between 1995 to 2003. And how old would those people be right now? That's right after, that was just a few years after I was born. So they would be in their 20s, right? So people in their 20s, many people in their 20s with Uranus and Aquarius can literally feel like an alien during these times or feel really, really different. So if you're one of those people born between 1995, 2003, you are a starseed. You're born with Uranus and Aquarius. You've definitely had lives on other planets. You're definitely, yeah, Debs are indigo children, starseeds. I feel like we can use those terms synonymously. They're here to usher in that cosmic consciousness age of Aquarius time. They're definitely way showers of that and natural starseeds and can resonate with that. And then we've also got Uranus and Scorpio generation are also natural starseeds because Uranus, the planet of outer space, and starseeds is at home in Aquarius and exalted in Scorpio, its second most favorite place to be. So if you were born between 1974 to 1981, you got to check the exact dates, but you likely have Uranus in Scorpio, another starseed generation. And Scorpio is, you know, rebelliousness, as well as Aquarius. All Aquarians and Scorpios are rebels. But if you've got Uranus and Scorpio, this was a generation of rebel starseeds, here to break the societal norms, right? And expose the truths of society. So isn't that interesting that we can look through the generations of big star seed clusters that came in all at the same time? Really cool. And if you weren't born in one of those generations, it doesn't mean that you're not a starseed. There's also other markers that we can look for in an astrological chart. And the main marker, if you're not born one of those Uranus generations or Uranus in Aquarius time or Uranus in Scorpio time, you're going to want to look at the planet Uranus in your chart. Do you have Uranus in top aspects? Do you have Uranus in an angular house? Do you have any planets in the sign of Aquarius ruled by Uranus? Do you have any Aquarius degrees, 11 or 23 degrees? If you have any of those things, then you do have starseed energy in your astrological chart, which is pretty cool. What do you think about that?
Yeah, very interesting. It's very interesting to me to see how the astrology, can also, say basically, can say, every aspect is there's nothing that is not touched by astrology actually, which is really really interesting. And I think there's the depths you can go in astrology and really fine tune, like see things about people's soul. I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah, really, really fascinating. So before we finish up today's video, should we talk a little bit about more advice that we have for our fellow starseeds during these times? What advice would you give to people?
Well, the most important advice I already gave is really become grounded and don't wallow. It may be weird to say, and I hope people don't think they take this the wrong way, but don't wallow in that homesick feeling. Because if you, it's kind of, I know it's kind of normal to feel like, because Earth can be sometimes, rough in comparison to where the most star seeds come from. It's a more, it's a lower, it's not a lower vibration in the sense that it's bad, but it's a lower frequency, because it's a very physical reality, which other 4 or 5 dimensional starseed realities are in a higher frequency. So it can feel, I do understand that it can feel sometimes heavy to be here a little bit, but that's part of the challenge. And really, make Earth your, make this earthly, not Earth, because Earth is our friend, but make this earthly life your friend, and really try to see it from a different perspective. Like, I am here, and I've chosen this, and I'm going to go back whenever the timing is right. And let's get rid of that. Let's okay, we all miss home sometimes, but let's not get that homesick feeling ruin our lives, and think we have to do anything. It's really make the best of this life and be here now, be here in the now, and be grounded. That's really and really, especially for you young star seeds out there, because I went through it, Meg went through it. Really get grounded. Don't be ungrounded. That's easy to say, don't be ungrounded, but work on your grounding. I mean, I worked on my grounding for years and years and years. Like every day, doing these exercises, connecting my base chakra to the earth, like we do it in the meditation sometimes. So really work on it. And I worked on it for years, and it really, after years, it really, solidified. So, don't quit, don't give up, keep working on it, and it will get better. It will get better. The worst thing you can do is just giving up to it, and say, I want to go home and I don't want to be here. But that's not. It's just gonna. You're here now, so why not make the best of it?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love that. We're here now, so why not make the best of it? And Lioness 219 says, "You're here for a reason. You just forgot." So true. So we came here, we went through the veil of forgetting, as I like to call it, and many ancient cultures call it. And that's part of the human experience. We forget where we came from. We forget our whole, past life soul's knowledge so that we can have this human experience. That's why Earth is such an amazing place, because we have some of the greatest soul growth while we're here on the planet Earth in this solar system, because of that forgetting that on some of those other constellations, starseed hotspots, we maybe don't have that forgetting. We maybe have more access to a lot more of our higher consciousness, which can be easier, but so much growth comes from being on Earth, for sure. It's a very, very important place. So I just pulled some tarot cards as guidance for starseeds during these times. And I love this tarot deck. Maybe you want to pull some cards too, Yanzi. Do you have any cards with you?
Actually, yes, because coincidentally, and I didn't plan to do it, but I just realized I have a Starseed Oracle deck right next to me that I sometimes use for my weekly Oracle card videos for the theme of the week. So I have them right here, so I can pull a card after you.
Yes. Okay. Sounds so good. So I just got this new tarot deck from one of our best friends, Carol, and I'm so grateful. It's called the Meaning Tarot. And look, because I'm trying to get better at the tarot, it gives you like affirmation and keywords on the card to help you learn the tarot better. So I'm so grateful for this one. So I pulled 3 cards I asked for star seeds during this time of great transition. What's our guidance? Queen of Swords. Your clear communication expresses what's best for all: intelligent, quick, complexity, graceful, observant, perceptive. And it's funny, in my daily astro show today, I was talking about how a really big theme right now with the current astrology is great clarity coming forward. Now that Neptune is coming out of Pisces into Aries, starseeds will start to feel more comfortable because there's more clarity about what the heck has really been going on here in a collective as we get through all the brainwashing and the mind control and the lies, right? Clarity is coming in. Queen of Swords. And our words and our thoughts, where we direct our energy in the air element, is very, very powerful during these times. So if we ever say something like, I don't want to be here anymore, for example, that's very powerful. That's literally pulling out a spell. And maybe you want to take that back. If I ever say something out loud that I don't actually mean, that's coming from an emotional place, a really triggered place, I'll say out loud, cancel, clear, delete. Actually, okay, universe, I'm having a hard time. Not really that fun being here right now, but I'm grateful to be here. I'm happy to be here. I love being here during the shift. So being very mindful with your words and with your thoughts. We've also got 10 of Swords reversed, recovery. We're in a recovery mode. We're in a regeneration mode. There's great healing happening during these times, and there are positive times ahead. Guys, we've got the 4 of Wands, victory. The star seeds this is the victory card. We are going to be victorious. Be ready for the opportunity you've worked for. Celebration, stability, home, rest, cleverness, beauty, romance, community, milestones. So it feels like we are victorious in our mission, and we will become more and more stable. 4 is the number of stability and foundation. I think as we're entering this age of Aquarius, which Aquarius does rule star seeds and ETs, it will become more and more stable and feel more and more like a home to us. Because I think many of us have come from situations at some point in our soul's journey where we've lived on planets, or maybe even ancient civilizations on this world with higher consciousnesses. So that is coming back, and we're going to be victorious. So that's exciting. What did you get with the starseed oracle?
Great. So let's do a quick shuffle. So I'm gonna ask for what's the message for all the star seeds right now, and the people, the star seeds, the people watching this show. So I'm just gonna pull a random one here. Let's go. Let's see. It says, oh wow, interesting. Sirius energy. Bring harmony and balance. I'm going to show it to the camera. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. It's going to focus.
Oh, yeah, we can see it. Yeah. Wow. Beautiful.
So Sirius energy, bring harmony. Interesting that Sirius comes up, right? Because we're talking a little bit about Sirius in the beginning. So harmony and balance, well, that speaks for itself, right? It's really important, in these times of this chaos in the world, because, the dark forces that that want to control us, they want to create chaos. It's and the chaos and divide and rule, like what's happening in the Middle East, all that chaos they're creating there. And they try to pull us into the chaos. You're for Israel, you're against Palestine. When actually the question is not about Israel and Palestine, it's about the people both in Palestine and the people both in Israel that are suffering from this. It's not about verses, it's about people together, and that's what they want to do. So this is really saying bring harmony and balance. And it starts with us, it started with us bringing harmony and balance into our consciousness. And sometimes it's hard, because sometimes there's our emotion life is sometimes like nature, right? It's sometimes it storms, sometimes we're human, but it's important to hold that that harmony and balance within ourselves, in our deeper layers of our being, and know that you can always, after it stormed, like there's always sunshine after rain, right? In nature, it doesn't storm forever. to go always back to that harmony and balance, and to be conscious of that, to bring yourself back to that balance, because that's like your natural state. That's, you know, the state in your starseed homes where you're most resonating with. So I think that's important to always to come back to that.
Very wise Sagittarius words. Thank you so much. We love our Sagittarian starseeds over here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us for today's video. And again, go check out, if you haven't already, Jens's new book, out now in English, A World in Transition. And thank you all for everyone that's been leaving positive reviews over on Amazon after you've been reading it, or in the live chat. I know, Jens, I'm getting so many comments in all my shows. People are mind blown by your new book and how you break down the whole old power structure, the spiritual perspective on the world in transition. Jens is very, very gifted at being able to explain with all the facts. You got your Pluto on the descendant, so you got that Plutonic investigative energy. You can ask Jens a question: why is the World Economic Forum bad? And he gives all the facts of the whole breakdown of everything. So you're so gifted, Jensi, and we love you so much. Thank you for putting out your book. It's A World in Transition over on Amazon. And also, if you haven't already, check out our Soulful Summer Solstice Retreat, which Jens and I are going to be hosting from Friday, June 27th to Monday, June 30th. We've got people signing up already. So if you want to confirm your spot, go over to megmoonbeam.com and sign up, or you can read the full itinerary. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us. So we're so looking forward to that, and so grateful for our beautiful, like-minded Lightworker Starseed community. Anything else you want to share before we finish up?
Not really, no. I think we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot, and it's an interesting subject to keep bringing. It's been out there for a long time, the starseed, but it's good to refresh it in every once in a while for the new people out there, the younger ones, you know, who may be struggling. You know, keep at it. And this is maybe I will close with a message to the younger people out there. I know we have a lot of viewers that are like, you know, our age and 50s and 60s, but it's also important to address the younger people. Let me address the younger starseeds out there, because if I would talk to myself, you know, 20 years ago, I would say, you know, keep at it, you know, do the work, do the grounding, do the healing, because that's also very important for starseeds, and never give up, and you'll get there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And we love you all. We'll see you next week for another live show with Jens and I. And we're going to kind of circle through current topics and metaphysical topics in this new weekly show that we're doing. So let us know in the comments any themes, topics that you'd like for us to look at in our shows together moving forward. Love you all so much. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.